something else I have to write down. May not see all of the abilities of stronger characters. That's one indicator that they are stronger than you. Those abilities. Space Jam 2 with LeBron as the lead. Those abilities are revealed when used. Period. Think. Boss counters. Period. Blue, red, easy, hard, small, large, easy, hard. I think that also the amount of damage that you're going to do with your ability is going to be told to you directly, like in something like Fire Emblem, so that you're not guessing when you're using an ability. Like, for instance, if the enemy has like really high endurance, if you went to target them with your ability, it would say like you're not going to do any damage with that, so don't even try. Which is one weakness of the Cavalier. He doesn't have any direct damage except for through his Garcelle mount. You heard about the movie Pixels Kirby? I had heard about it, but I haven't looked into it at all. Blue, red, easy, hard, small, large, easy, hard. Maybe aggressive indicator. We want to keep the models like roughly the same size unless there's like a really big enemy, you know, like a troll or a giant or something. And then of course we'd want to render them fully. They might even take up 2 rows or 3 rows depending on how large they are. And that's something that we don't think we'll be able to add into the demo, though. It got terrible reviews. That's sad. It's always sad when a movie gets terrible reviews. A lot of people work on a film. Doesn't mean all films get to be great or even necessarily should be great. I think that everyone should try and make an artistic film rather than just creating mass market films. But you don't even get to make great films until you've failed through a couple of more derivative things first. And sometimes we just get to see people's failures on screen, and that can be valuable. It can be valuable to see, you know, it can be valuable to see where something could have gone well, but it didn't, because then you can analyze better. If you see something really great, it's hard to break down all of the things that make it truly fantastic. There might be so many things that you can't even really put a finger on any given one of them, or see how the things are interwoven, because someone's artistic hand has woven them together so professionally that the elements are inextricable. Whereas when you see something like Pacific Rim, you get to see where some editing would have helped the film a lot, where people coming in and revising some of the hokier dialogue in the script would have been beneficial. Of course, that's not what that film was about, but certainly you can, as a designer, as anyone who's trying to get better at any creative pursuit, apply your analytical mind to a negative work or a work that wasn't perceived as doing well, and figure out where it went wrong and how you would have changed things to make it better. I find myself doing that often when I'm forced to watch things that I don't like. Cheap way to add enemies without having to waste time on different animations and models, in case the schedule is that tight where you would not be able to add other models. I see. Different matchups. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Even if we only get like 40 minutes of content in the demo and we don't get to do all the stuff that we want to do, I think that that'll be enough somewhat. Maybe we can keep updating it during the course of the Kickstarter, you know? Like when people start giving feedback and are playing through, because we're going to be posting it for free. And I would like to release a demo that's at least an hour or 2 long in terms of content, but we only have like our battle scene. We don't even have a completed D zone yet. The battle the art for the background in battle isn't finished. We need dialogue, sequences. Like that's stuff I have to add to the sheet too. Battle backgrounds. We used to know that if the game doesn't meet targets, which I can assure you it will, you can become a reviewer for pretty much anything. I appreciate that, Flame Fox. I thought about doing review work. The problem with doing review work, for me at least, is that I really want to create something worthwhile, you know? And it's a shame that I am so inexperienced with management, because I think that we could be much more on target. In fact, I've been watching the series, the Tim Schafer and Double Fine series on the making of Broken Age, and I've been watching where, you know, Tim Schafer is working on something and doing design work and creating great dialogue, but the scope of the project is just this unmanageable thing, and they're all working to come to grips with, well, what do we cut? How do we cut it? How do we talk to our community about the fact that we're going to need more money? And it mirrored, you know, how even though they're this huge studio, it mirrored a lot the issues I've perceived with management. And they're lucky enough to have like a business guy who can secure an extra $1 or $2 million, which I don't have the connections to do. I wouldn't know how to do. Uh, they've got a marketing department. They've got all sorts of other resources, which they've hired in and spent a lot of money to keep on and scheduling people. So I've been trying to pick up a few things watching it. There's this scene specifically. I think I can get by not having the audio playing. Let me see if I can grab it. There's a scene that really ended up helping me. I'm gonna end up stealing. Yeah, here we go. It's got their organization chart for how they're scheduling things. I'm creating a schedule that's going to work in almost exactly the same way for the meeting that I'm having with the team on Saturday evening. I think we're going to do it Saturday evening. And I wouldn't even know how to construct something like this. I've tried in the past to make schedules, but they're not nearly as organized or professional as this. So, what I find to be tremendously lacking in the indie dev scene, at least from what I've looked for on Twitch and YouTube for resources, is this sort of information. Like, you have to generally hire someone or develop a wealth of experience enough to know that this is the optimal way of organizing your information about scheduling. And maybe it's not optimal, but I think it's pretty close. How about demo only to repeat on, but more difficult with some subtle changes, like how Mario was after finishing, you would start again, but on a more difficult level. We thought about something. We thought about a system that would kind of enable that. There's an encounter that I want to make, where you have the opportunity. You come to a point and you get ambushed by the antagonists, and you're fighting with these people who are narratively important, who are with you, or at least narratively important at that point. Or maybe just you're fighting with your soldiers who have been with you the whole time, and you develop sort of attachment to them, even though they're just kind of not even really implemented in such a way that you would care for them. You've just been fighting with them by your side. And the encounter works like this. You fight the first wave of enemies, and then it asks you if you want to fight another wave. And then it asks you if you want to fight another wave. And then it asks you if you want to fight another wave. And then it asks you if you want to fight the last wave. And in between, you'll probably heal up, but the encounters will get harder each time. And after each sequence, you can choose to flee. But if you do, a certain portion of the people who are fighting with you will die. They'll stay back behind to try and stop these people from coming after you so that you can flee. But if you beat the whole encounter, you end up going up against that Cav boss guy. And so there will be a way to increase the difficulty for yourself and to get some replayability out of things. The other reason I wanted to do the Cav boss the way I explained him to you earlier, where he has the mount that you didn't pick, uh, is it will increase replayability for the encounter. Uh, he might have an extra ability based off the mount that he has, and that's not a tremendous amount of work for us. We just have to add 3 abilities in, or maybe a passive that works in 3 ways. But in that way, you'll get to fight him you'll get to go through the game up to that boss with 2 of the mounts. One combination of the 2 that you chose, and then you'll fight him with the other guy. And the first time you do that, you'll be like, "Oh man, I wish I had used that mount because it's so cool." And you'll go through with the first stage of that mount, the less powerful version, if you choose to go through again. Hey, to Infinity and Beyond, welcome. So I think that will be interesting, and it'll like give us a way to not artificially increase the time. Great motivational quote. Let me look at this motivational quote. Inhale the future, exhale the past. Did I do it right? Are we in the future yet? Double the time. There's another thing that we want to do, Gosu skills, where, like, for instance, if you fail that encounter, because it will get harder. If you fail it, there's not like a fail state where you die, but a fail state instead where these guys come in and save you, but it blocks off a path, the fast path to finishing the demo, and then you have to go back through like the content that you skipped and find another way to get to the end point of the demo. And that doesn't require a tremendous amount of resources for us, just that we utilize what we have better to afford for different routes through. I don't know if we're going to talk about game design in Skype. I don't care if we're going to ideas and stuff. What makes you change your mind, Leonardo? Go through the content. At the end, you're defeated by the antagonist. You wake up several years later. Trachoma, Charles Rule, you have to go through the same content. For the demo, are you talking about, Gosu? Feel creative now. All right. Well, Leonardo, before you hop into the call, I want to give you an assignment. I'm going to give this assignment to anyone who wants to hop into the call. But because you feel creative, I feel like it would be a good assignment to have. First thing that I want you to do is not take one of these names, but create an archetypal enemy, whether it be like a knight on a mount, which we don't have the animation resources for, so I'm just using that as an example, or something similar. Create a passive for that enemy that interacts with at least one of the enemies that you see here, but hopefully 2 of the enemies. And post that idea in the Skype chat. We'll talk through it, or sorry, not in the Skype chat, in the Twitch chat. We'll talk through it on Twitch. And assuming that the idea is something that we can work with, I'll call you in on Skype. That offer is open to anyone here. Changes should be minor, day-night / difficulty. Well, it's hard to do that. It could be a minor change. The issue I perceive would be that we don't have like a lighting engine in the game. So we can't just like turn the lights down on a scene. We have to like redo the battle maps. And we, like here, for instance, let me go grab the build. I haven't actually, that's too much work. I just wanted to use my wish. But that's what we'd be doing, man. So like, I mean, I'd love to have you in the call. I'd love to talk with you, but I'm not going to be able to talk about other things other than design. So we'd probably end up talking back and forth about something like that anyway. And if that was true, then I wouldn't want to like put you into a situation where you feel pressured to come up with an idea ahead of time. I'd rather have, sorry, come up with an idea on the spot. I would rather have a conversation with you about something we developed beforehand. I meant ideas like weapons, etc. Well, we did some weapon work already. We don't know how many weapons are going to get implemented because even though we have the capability, that's another thing that I have to add in. Weapons. Even though we have the capability to put other weapons into the animation for a given character, this is the old build. This is the battle map that we have now. We're going to have a different battle map hopefully soon, but I can't say given the fact that we're low on resource time. You can use real-time lights in Unity with sprites. Huh. And this is how druids were added to the game. Use real-time lights in Unity with sprites. Real-time lights, huh? Maybe that would be like something that would be easy, but I wouldn't want the lighting system to look cheap, you know, or feel cheap. I'm not saying it would, but I wouldn't want it to be that way. So we'd have to fix lighting and make everything else fit that. And I was watching the Broken Age stuff, and like maybe that's something I definitely want to pursue because I think our game would look better if it had some lighting in it, and it would dull some of like the really sharp edges or color edges to stuff. But it's also something that no one on our team has experience with. I mean, maybe Christian does, but I haven't talked to him about it very much. Why can't I access the new build? Can I use my wish? Yeah, I mean, certainly, Leonardo da Vinci, you can use your wish. I just don't. I will either grant it or not grant it. And you can always get your wish back if I don't. I think one of the things that's holding like the dev process back, or maybe making our progress slower than it could be, is that I don't have any like professional skills developed outside of doing design work. So I need to get better at programming or the art side of things. I mean, I could write. Um, if we needed another writer, I could hop in on doing that too. And maybe that's where I should hop in, but our writer has done like fantastic work with the game, and can I call you on Skype? That's my wish. Leonardo, if you call me on Skype, we're going to be doing design work. And if you want to do design work, then yes, you can call me on Skype. However, if you're doing design work with me, then you have to complete that assignment. Because otherwise, we're going to have to talk through what we're making on the spot. And I would rather, as I said before, have a pre-rendered idea to talk about. Something that has some thought brought in from your side first. And if that's too much work, then like then that's fine for sure. I don't mind that, but also like that's the prerequisite for me granting your wish. You should learn to program. Nice haircut, by the way. Looks very straight. But I haven't gotten a haircut to infinity and beyond. No. Chris's skills. I just, took a shower and now it's laying flat. It doesn't look all crazy like it usually does. Man, there's just so much to do. Every time I think of something, we just add another thing to the list. It's gonna be really rough hitting this deadline. Sexy. Oh, baby. You guys are just trying to butter me up. I wish that we could pick like one feature and drop it, but I think all of the features are necessary. There's already a system that we wanted to implement where you had merchants bring you items that I don't think we're going to be able to do. Um, Unit movement on map, on overworld map, revealed routes on overworld map. This is like our list of things that have to be implemented within 2 months. And up until this point, we haven't completed any of these things. Stress. You're seeing a dev in the middle of a very stressful moment of realization about the reality of finishing these things. I know you guys are going to be supportive and like tell me that we can get through it, or perhaps some of you will be realists and say like there's no way you're doing all of that stuff. We're going to do our best for sure, and I think we'll probably build it from the bottom up so that there's however much content we finish on the front end you'll be able to get through, and then we'll sort of like allude to the fact that the other content is coming, and we'll keep updating the demo as the Kickstarter progresses. Positive programmer. Hey, Dirterzer. Positive programmer, you're so kind. Is that why you're the positive programmer? Leonardo says give up. If I were to write a short story or a script, would you read it and give me feedback? For sure, Flamefox. For sure. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to give you feedback. JK, I love you. Love you too, Leonardo. Yeah, I think it is somewhat overwhelming. This list of things doesn't really look doable, at least insofar as what I know about how much our team can work. Like if my animator and my art guy, if I can afford to pay 40 hours a month for my animator, my art guy, my writer, and my programmer, and that gives us roughly 100 hours out of each of those individuals between now. So 400 man hours for them, 100 man hours for me. Plus, actually more than 100 man hours for me because I'm not getting paid, so I can just work. If we're incorporating that in, then we've got roughly 600 man hours across the team between now and our deadline. So allocating those hours in such a way that we hit our deadline and we don't bankrupt ourselves on the way there is the primary design challenge for today's stream. My Steam games, do I get paid per month? You cannot do it. You already failed, yet you have not even started. Thanks, Double Brian. How many Steam games do I get paid per month? I don't know, Leonardo da Vinci. I don't know. It's hard to set realistic goals. You never know when 3-day bugs are going to just pop up. You get better at setting goals over time. Just try your best. Yeah, thank you, Positive Programmer. We're gonna do our best to do it. I need to set up a schedule. In fact, I'm gonna do that right now if you guys don't mind. It's gonna be kind of dry to watch, but